Welcome, everybody, to Wager Talk Today. We got a great lineup, a ton of actionable betting information coming your way. This is, without question, the best daily sports betting show on the planet. It's a pleasure to do this, and it's a pleasure to have you all with us. Andy Lang will be joining us right off the bat, and he's got 2 NFL prop bets for you guys. After that, we got Gianni The Greek. He's got a UFC bet and a college football bet on the Alabama LSU game. So stay with us for that. We are going to dive deep into the NFL card as well. We got Dave Mason from BetOnline joining us at the end of the show. My daily presidential address will take apart the Buffalo Bills Indianapolis Colts game. Teddy covers, my co-host. What will your big game breakdown be?
It's Football Friday. We're going to talk about the Detroit Lions and the Houston Texans Sunday Night Football. It's a client play for me. You guys will get it here for free. Just stick around. Big game breakdown coming a little bit later in the show.
Yeah, and Teddy, it's a client play for me as well. So I'm very curious to hear what you have to say. Okay, stop the presses. Get all the media guys gathered around. I have a quick announcement to make. As you all have known, the last 2 days, I have pushed hard on you guys using the promo code PASS3. That's PASS3. Yesterday, Carmine Bianco calls me on the phone. He's like, Prez, you literally were begging people to get that your 3-day all-access package. You were pleading with them. I've never seen anyone beg so hard. Well, I've begged for the last 2 days. And on Wednesday, my begging resulted in a 5-1 day for my clients. And on Thursday, we went 4-1. Yes, I am 9-2 in my last 2 days. And that promo code is still available, guys. PASS3. I have 6 bets tonight for my clients. I have a 5% college football play tomorrow for my clients. And I have at least 4 NFL plays. You get all 3 days for only $39. The promo code is PASS3. Andy Lang, can I throw your dart plays into my package for my clients?
Absolutely. No, of course not. You can't take my darts plays. I have this market cornered. What are you, serious? Although, Teddy, I will say, Prez was at his best on the NHL show. He said the darts players shouldn't be called players. Prez, what should they be called?
Dartists, like dartists. Like,
sure, that's a ring to it.
Yeah.
It's absolutely good.
We are going to discuss some darts, Andy, a little later. But right now we're going to discuss the running back for the New York Giants, a man I know well. Over for dinner 2 weeks ago, Tyrone Tracy. We call him T-squared in my house. How do we bet this guy?
You're just going to take him over his rushing total. It's probably the best matchup you could get in the NFL right now. This is fading the Carolina Panthers rush defense. As of now, they are dead last in allowing yards per game, 159.3 yards per game rushing. Last 3, even a bit worse, 171 yards. I mean, that's worse than the Colts, than Dallas. It's actually worse than his own team, the Giants. And this is a guy that the last couple weeks that's gotten a lot of work, 16 carries against Washington, 20 carries against the Steelers. He had 145 yards against the Steelers. He only had 66 against Washington. But this is a number that you got to play on Tyrone Tracy. I believe it's 74.5. So you just fade these really bad defenses. You keep lining them up and knocking them down. I mean, we've been fading the Ravens secondary as we talk about. Look what Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase did to them last night. Pick a defensive unit that's really bad and just keep fading them. So we're going to keep fading the Carolina Panthers. Do it with Tyrone Tracy this weekend.
So let me ask you this, because, I mean, at least part of the reason why Carolina's run defense has been so bad is because they've been out of it by the second half in so many of these games, and the opposing team just runs the football. In theory, given the point spread this week, Carolina is supposed to be more competitive, which means opposing teams may not be running the football throughout the course of the second half. Does that concern you here, that the Giants just aren't good enough?
Oh, I don't think their passing game is good enough. So I think it actually even helps us. Like, what's the Giants' path to victory here? Run, run, run. Like, do you really want the passing game to try and get a big lead here? I don't think Carolina blows anybody out. I'm not really sure. It's a coin flip for me in this game. I just don't see a game script where the Giants are like completely out of it. They gotta abandon the run game. So I'm pretty confident that I'll take Tyrone Tracy in a pretty close game. We have to wake up super early to watch because this is like the Germany game. So, but nothing like cashing a prop in the early morning game.
Yeah. So Andy, just to go into this game real quick, you call it a coin flip game, and you did not come on the show and release the New York Giants. They're plus
We meant
6.5.
against the spread.
They're plus
coin flip against the spread
in a coin flip game. Can you explain what is making you call it a coin flip game, but keeping you off of a team that is almost a touchdown dog?
Well, it's just my opinion on the coin flip game.
The Carolina is plus 6.5.
Okay, yeah. So I think it's a coin flip game, and I've never come on here to give out an NFL spread. I come on here to give out props. That's why I didn't give out the Giants. I know who I am. I know my brand. I know what I do. What I do is I do props. So that's why you guys have me on every Friday.
Actually, we have you on every Friday because you are literally top 3 better on WagerTalk, and you do it every single year. And guys, I'm serious about that. Like, as one of the owners, I log into the back end. I know what plays sell. I know that Tokyo Brandon is the number 1 most profitable expert over the last 3 years of betting, and he's not the number 1 most sold expert. I know that Andy Lang is permanently making money for his clients, and he is in the top 3 most profitable bettor for the last 3-4 years at WagerTalk. I know he's not the top 3 most sold bettor, and the reason is simple. You guys out there who watch the show don't seem to want to bet Korean baseball or darts. And what I'm saying to you is, you don't know what is in your stock portfolio. We have a financial advisor. I have a financial advisor. By the way, my financial advisor did 39.46% return for me the last 12 months. I just got noticed, and I got a notification this morning of that. The bottom line is we don't know what stocks are in our portfolio. We don't pay attention to shit like that. And we shouldn't care what sports we bet either. The most important thing that we can do for ourselves and our family is to make money, accumulate wealth. The very few people are better than Andy Lang on that, and especially in darts. And Andy, that leads to a brilliant segue for your dart promo. Give it out, and then we'll get into your next actionable bet.
Yeah, so from now to the end of the year, $49 gets you the rest of the year for darts plays. And that's important because the biggest tournaments are now till the end of the year. This is when our volume really increases. And it works out perfect. Why? Because everyone's watching NFL and college basketball, and college football, and NBA and NHL. Well, guess who else is paying attention to that? The books. I promise you they're not paying as much attention to darts as they are those other sports. And that's where we get the softest lines. That's where we get some of these huge mismatches that are mispriced, and we take advantage of it. You don't have to watch darts. You don't have to know the players. We'll send you the plays. You bet them, and they cash for you. We're 20-9 this year, and we're coming into the hot part of the year. This is the best time of year to bet it. And I had a long talk with Ralph and Marco and Johnny, and they were like, you need to run a dart special for the rest of the year. They were like $99, and then someone was like, no, $49. So $49, smoking deal for the rest of the year.
Yes. And Teddy, can you name any dartists?
Not a one.
Not me either. I know for sure they're white, British, and likely unhealthy, but that's just my guess. Andy Lang, you got a prop bet for us on the wonderful Kirk Cousins. Fill us in.
All right, this is a bizarre one. We're going to strongly take Kirk Cousins under 1.5 yards rushing. Why? He's only gone over this total one time, and that was against Tampa in a really, really close game. So he had 16 yards in that game. He has -3 yards for the entire year. He has negative yards in a bunch of games because he takes kneel downs at the end. We talked about a same game parlay, Prez, where we took Kirk Cousins under 1.5 rushing yards a few weeks ago, but over 1.5 rush attempts, which hit at 6-1. Because at the end of the game, when they're up, he takes some kneel downs and he gets negative yards. This is not a guy that takes off and run. And you look at this matchup against New Orleans. New Orleans dealing with just all kinds of a mess. I just don't see the need why he would ever need to take off and run. He's going to have success throwing the ball. Tyler Algier and Bijan Robinson are going to ones doing the running. And at the end of the half, the end of the game, if he's out there to take some kneels, I would expect another game where he ends up with negative yards rushing. So we'll happily take under 1.5 yards rushing.
Andy Lang, awesome stuff, dude. Love having you on. Guys, Andy was on Puck Time today with me. And in all seriousness, buy his freaking dart package, like $49. Lay the action, make some freaking money. Who cares where it is, when it is, how boring it is, and frankly, in my opinion, how bloody stupid it is. Just make money with Andy Lang. Andy, thanks for joining us. Love doing these shows with you, my brother.
Thanks, guys.
Teddy Covers, Melody just used that promo code PASS3. I love the name Melody. One of our listeners asked, when does it expire? Steven, it expires on Sunday night. That's PASS3. Theodore, you look great today, dude. I love how you've matched your hair with your jacket. I feel like you're about to smile. Show us those pearly whites and tell us, what did Bettors learn last night?
So I want to talk about time management today, which of course is why I'm going to talk about Kirk Herbstreit's dog. Holiday season fast approaching. Everyone is doing multiple sports right now. Information is power. Good info equals good bets. It takes time to handicap a card. You can't do it in 15 minutes and expect to turn a profit. And when you're capping multiple sports, especially the daily sports, NBA, college hoops, NHL, that takes time and focus. So yesterday, Kirk Herbstreit's dog died. Lead story on ESPN. Couldn't get away from it on X. I've got dogs, 2 of them, Jack and Schmelly. And Milo, the cat who thinks he's a dog. They're more than pets, they're family. I love dogs. Did I click on any of the Kirk Herbstreit's dog died stories yesterday? No, I did not. First, the headline told you the story. You know, what the F more are you going to learn from reading it? But second, this time of the year, you need to use your time wisely. You need to use your free time wisely, especially for the casual bettor. You know, the pros are doing this full time all year. The casual bettor, the recreational bettor, this time of year can get a little bit weird. Everyone's busy. There's a lot of stuff going on. So my advice to you is when you see a headline, Kirk Herbstreit's dog died, doesn't matter if you're a fan of Kirk Herbstreit dogs or not. You already know the story. Save your time. Click on stories that'll give you info that'll help you win bets, not necessarily stories about someone's dog who passed away. We're sorry, Kirk, but it's none of my business, and I don't care that much. That's what I learned last night. Lawrence, back to you, my friend.
You have a dog named Schmelly?
Well, her name was Elsie, which became Smelly, which became Schmelly. Yeah, it became Schmelly, yes.
I love that name. That is a kick-ass name for a dog. Is it a Schnauzer?
It is a some kind of doodle thing. I don't know. It's a big dog. A golden doodle.
Schnelly the Schnauzer. It needs to be a Schnauzer. Oh, Teddy. Sorry, Herbstreeit, for losing your dog. I lost mine a year ago. My dog's name was Vegas, and it was also in the schmoodly zone. Gianni joining us. Gianni, I recently noticed you on Twitter wearing a MAGA hat. I don't normally bring that up on the show, but hey, you brought it up on Twitter. So congrats. Nicely done.
Thank you. Listen, I don't pick, I pick what's in my best interest. When my first vote I ever made was for a Democrat. I think a couple times for a Democrat, then I'd vote Republican, then Democrat. For me, it's in what I think is in my best self-interest and what I think is best for the country. And I know personally the prior 4 years were a little better than these last 4 years. So that's how I just judged it. Simple.
Guys in the chat room, we're not debating this topic. I just wanted to congratulate Gianni because I saw him wearing a MAGA hat. No debating this topic today.
No.
My brother,
It's
I
settled.
love having you on every Friday. Such a pleasure. You got a UFC bet for us. Let's go there, and then we're going to do your Alabama LSU breakdown and take apart the NFL card. So let's start with your UFC bet.
Yeah, Antonio Trocoli, and actually one of the guys that I work with that is one of the MMA originators, Andrew Gambis, hit me up with Trocoli earlier in the week. What I like to do is I narrow down my sides totals, and then I move for two different MMA guys that I have a lot of respect for. And if they come in on the same side, then I know to unload. And this is one of those that jumped out at me for one reason only. There's a lot of recency bias on the Trocoli side. He's coming off a loss to Shara Bullet. We know all the hype behind the Shara Bullet, and that loss is even elevated by the last win of Shara Bullet, which is now that famous highlight reel. But more importantly, let's not forget, he closed at almost a plus 500 dog in that fight. He was not supposed to win it. This is a much different matchup for him. In fact, this is a step down in competition because when I look at Tracy and Gore, he hasn't fought in 2 years. So he's been injured and now returns. But more importantly, this is going to be his fourth UFC fight. And he has yet to record a win against the UFC opponent that has a UFC win. So his UFC win is against guys that have not been able to win in the UFC yet. I think, again, this is a big step up for Gore, step down for Trocoli. He's going to have a 5-inch reach advantage here. I don't think he's in a disadvantage anywhere. It's as close to a coin, much closer to a coin flip than one fighter having a 60-40 shot at winning. Take Trocoli at plus anything, 105 or better. You'll do good there. That's a good bet.
Sure. Plus price on Antonio Trocoli. UFC action here in Las Vegas for Saturday. Let's talk a little Saturday night college football. This game tends to attract a lot of attention. Alabama and LSU. Right now, look at the WagerTalk free, a live odds screen. Alabama holding what? -3 on the highway in this ball game. Total sitting 58.5/59. How do you break it down? Crimson Tide against the Tigers Saturday night in Baton Rouge.
Yeah, and for me, this is a simple case of getting an Alabama team that has more or less owned this history as far as LSU goes, regardless of where the game takes place. Obviously, it's the rivalry, so even when LSU has their worst years, they're still going to show up for this game. But the skill level is just different. And what I like most is I think Alabama's a little bit undervalued, a little bit underrated this year, just because they have those two losses. But if you dig a little deeper, here's what you'll see. The loss against Tennessee, this last loss, it was the turnovers that cost them. That was the reason. Earlier against Vanderbilt, again, another random occurrence for a team like Alabama, who was a huge favorite in that game. But we know the randomness in one outcome. But that is what allows us to get value on a team like Alabama. Had they come in off, had they not had that Tennessee loss or even that Vanderbilt loss, and this was a one-loss football team, they'd be going into Baton Rouge upwards of over 4 through that key number of 3, probably being pushed up closer to 6. I just think LSU is a little bit, at least my power rankings, how I see them a little lower than what the national rankings have them, and I have Alabama a little higher than what the national rankings have them. That to me is the perfect storm. And like I said, coupled with the fact, series-wise, Alabama has just owned LSU, and I don't think anything's going to change on Saturday night. And finally, when I start seeing that the betting public, no disrespect, doesn't think they need the points, and the majority of the bets are on the money line, it tends to tell me they think this dog should be favored. Nothing could be further from the truth. Lay the points with Alabama. They win this game by double digits.
Gianni, I got a quick question, and this is somewhat conceptual. I mean, it works for this game, but here we got Alabama about to enter a tough stretch of games against some rivals all the way through. You know, we saw this with the New England Patriots. Nick Saban is gone. Alabama doesn't have that sort of je ne sais quoi that they had under Nick Saban. And it feels like the AFC East, all they wanted to do was beat the shit out of the Patriots when they finally could. Do you feel that that is something we should take into account? Maybe not necessarily with this game, but moving forward conceptually against Alabama, because there are teams that are pretty peeved with losing to them for the last 2 decades.
Well, they're definitely going to try. But the thing with Alabama, you got to remember, is that the bookmakers have done a really good job of pricing this team. I mean, I remember even those years when they were undefeated, Prez, or one-loss team, you couldn't really make money with them against the point spread. Like, that was the great equalizer for Alabama. And even this year, you look at them, they're a 4-4 ATS team. So against the spread, I think the books have done a really good job of protecting themselves with Alabama. And like you said, the mystique is off now. I mean, they were the dynasty, but when Joey Lawrence and the Clemson team started beating them, I think that started to wear off, that Alabama just isn't beatable anymore. So I think that's shaken, but I agree with you. I think any team that wants revenge for all those run-ups that Alabama have, they're going to try to do that, and you're extra motivated, I think, playing Alabama regardless. But I just don't think LSU has the team to be able to do that. And I think you're going to see an even more motivated Alabama team going on the road with something to prove. They have a chip on their shoulder, I believe, as well, coming off, having the 2 losses. This is a team that came into the season expecting to lose 2 football games, especially this far into the season.
Yeah.
Gianni The Greek, you're someone who has his finger on the pulse of where the markets are moving and where they're going to move. Obviously, you're locked in with some of the bigger syndicates from back east. You get a ton of strong information. Let's start with the college football card for this weekend. What are you seeing? What are you hearing? What are you betting? Then we'll talk a little NFL afterwards.
And college basketball. We're live. We're on WagerTalk Today. So I got college basketball. I just unloaded, Teddy, that I could share with you guys. Because I don't have too much in college football. In fact, it was just getting ahead of those key numbers. It was Alabama at 2.5 that they wanted. It was Georgia at 2.5 that they wanted. And San Jose State at 3 were the biggest sides as far as the college football that I could confirm are legit. Because lately there's just been a lot of two-way action, a lot of middle attempts, especially with those totals. So up until later today, and if not tomorrow morning, I tend to be low volume in college football. The playing field has seemed to change for me. So I haven't been trying to get way out ahead on a lot of these because I've just been seeing a lot of setups happening early in the week in college sports.
Teddy?
Let's talk college hoops then, if that's the way you're looking. If that's what you want to talk about, Gianni, we're all ears.
Yes, sir.
College basketball. What are you seeing? What are you hearing? What are you betting?
Right now, it's so hard. If anyone out there has outs, hit me up. If you have outs, hit me up. I cannot get down on college basketball. After the last couple seasons, no one wants to take it. If you have college basketball outs, hit me up. 866 Santa Clara -5. 852 Mississippi State -19.5 all the way up to -21. VCU -9.5 and 10. Northern Colorado +14, +13. Murray State and Pitt over 147, over 148. Now those added games, the 306, 5, whatever, the 6-digit games. Lowell, UMass Lowell -8 all the way up to -10. Duke. That was a 2X. Duke at 32, Duke at 32.5, 33, 33.5, 34. Blasting Duke. St. Joseph's all the way up to -17. Eastern Tennessee all the way up to -11.5. And Penn State, I missed that one. They betted at 19.5. They betted at 20. They betted at 20.5. They betted at 21, and I still could not get down. The books are just moving so fast on these college basketball lines because it's kind of like the wise guys versus the books. The betting public really isn't getting involved all that much in college basketball right now. Maybe if there's a TV game, something on ESPN, a big marquee game, they'll get involved. But with college football on, with the NFL on, it's just not getting the attention. So it's kind of like wise guys versus the books for a little bit. And that's why you're seeing such significant moves and low limits. So again, if you have accounts, hit me up.
Gianni, it's so interesting what you're talking about. And we've been saying this for, 30 years. There's a 6-week window that might be the best betting window of the year. And it's now, and it's in college basketball. That from November 1st till the start of sort of the bowl games where the line makers could breathe is the single best time to bet hoops, NHL, all of these other periphery sports, not periphery, but not football, but specifically college basketball, the best 6-week window. And we're seeing it. I'm killing it in college hoops already. 4-1 run in my last 2 days. Yeah, guys, don't sleep on hoops. College basketball for the next 6 weeks. Gianni, let's talk some NFL, brother. I made mention, is this the bloodbath week, so to speak? Road chalk everywhere. Teddy pointed out that this is the year of road chalk. Is that going to continue, or are we going to see the public bleed on Sunday? Where are you going as well?
Well, efficient markets correct themselves, and the NFL is pretty efficient. But if the books aren't getting destroyed, then they have no reason to really correct. I mean, if the bettors are willing to take the worst of it here or there, they have no problem. And here's what I'm seeing so far, at least from the sharp bettors. Haven't been afraid so far to lay some of that road chalk. Here's what I mean. We got two-way action on Bills and Colts. I have -4.5 and -4 and +4.5. So there's a huge difference of opinion on that one. But both teams agree that the under 47.5, under 47.
Yes.
Same thing. Steelers Commanders, same thing, Prez, where one group, these are two groups that I work with, and I swear to you, the one sent out Commanders -2.5, and then the bot sent out Pittsburgh +3 at even money. So one group's looking to lay 2.5, the other one's looking to take Pittsburgh at 3.
Gianni, who in their right mind is going to take Washington? Now, I get it, but Tomlin is 12-3, 13-4 off of a bye. He's won 7 straight. He's won them by 9 freaking points. On the road, average win of 5 points. Who the hell? What wise entity is taking Washington here?
Yep. I could not agree with you more. And then the Bucks, they took the Bucks at 7, 7.5, 6. They're just taking the Bucks, but at 5, when it dropped down to 5, that's when one of the guys that I really respect, that's kind of like not a group, but wins NFL, blasted the 49ers at -5. He was like begging, keep wise guys, keep betting that Bucks for me so I could bet 49ers and hit the 49ers on the money line. So he really likes the 49ers. Another really sharp bet is the Jets. That's why I think the Jets should be favored right now. I mean, it's a flip of 1, but that's why Cardinals open favorite. Jets got bet, money line, pick on Jets -1. So they like the Jets traveling on the road. And the Sunday night game is what's going to be a huge, huge outcome for the books. It kind of looks a little bit like Joe's versus pros kind of. I hate saying that, but I have been seeing some of the sharper groups picking off any 4s and stuff like that, some of those rogue higher numbers. But there's going to be more Lions money from the betting public than you could imagine. There'll be so much risk just on money line parlays from earlier in the day. It'll be interesting to see where they bump this lineup to edge some of that risk off, because this Lions team, they have to regress. I mean, if you see what their stats are, they're outperforming like historic teams, like teams that have historically outperformed. They're doing even better. I think their DVOA is higher going into this week, I think, than any other team in the history since they started charting it. So again, it's ridiculous. Lions have to regress. And then Monday night, Sharps are on the Dolphins, road dog there.
Teddy.
Gianni, great analysis. Anything else you'd like to tell us about, or is it time for you to promote?
No, time for me to promote. Always got to sell. You got always be closing, T. Always be closing. No, this big weekend. Got a nice weekend because I am firing a 5% in the NFL. We pushed last week, so I think I'm 5-1 in those. And I isolated another one for this weekend in week 10. Saturday and MMA, still number 1 in MMA for this year. Huge ROI, double-digit ROI. And we got college basketball, college football tomorrow. So, big weekend. Head on over. Steam Room Sunday. So I'm really excited for this weekend. And like you said, the last 6, 7, 8 weeks of this year historically have been the best for me. So I hope history continues.
Wonderful stuff. Gianni The Greek, everybody. Lots of shows still to come. We're going to break down 2 NFL games. We also have Dave Mason from BetOnline joining us. Shout out to Mason, Michael, Tim, Taryn, and Sean. All 5 of you people just purchased my 3-day all access pass in the last 5 minutes. Oh, so much freaking love. Teddy covers. Is this the week Detroit comes down to earth? I mean, it's the right spot for Houston, but it was the right spot for Tennessee 2 weeks ago. I am so curious how you are handicapping this game, brother. Give us your big game breakdown.
I'll start with this. Tennessee ain't Houston. All right. Big game breakdown style. Let's talk about the Lions and the Texans. Right now, look at the WagerTalk free live odds screen. Detroit minus 3.5 across the board, pretty much. Total sitting in the 49 range. There are some 48.5s out there. There's no question the Lions are playing elite level football. From a pure powering perspective, they're as good as anybody in the league, if not the best team in the league, right there with Kansas City. All that being said, they're laying more than a field goal on the road. They're coming off huge divisional wins. They beat Minnesota on the road. They beat Green Bay on the road. Now they're a comfortable lead in the division. They get the tiebreaker. They get the rematches at home in Detroit. Very satisfying win, physical win last week against Green Bay. Dan Campbell. We're built for this, man. Just because we play indoors doesn't matter. We can play anywhere. We can play in the snow. We can play in the mud. That's just us. We're built to win. Very, very pleased with their performance. 6 straight wins for Detroit. It's worth noting during this span, 14 takeaways, 2 giveaways, which is a little bit high for what we can expect on a week-in, week-out basis. Look, we know that Detroit's offense is really good. They're not going to turn the ball over a lot. But the 14 turnovers they created, well, I got to think Houston, not a team that turns the ball over a lot. They do take care of the football. And, of course, Detroit is now 7-1 for the first time since 1956. All right? They won at Lambeau for the 3rd straight time. The 3rd straight year. They haven't done that since the 80s and 90s. I think Detroit is not a bet-on team this week. Plain and simple. It's a natural exhale spot. It's not an exhale spot for Houston. Houston's coming off a game in which they played poorly against the New York Football Jets, outgained by a full yard per play. C.J. Stroud. It's embarrassing to come out here in a primetime game. And get embarrassed like that is never fun. We got to be better in a lot of areas. That starts with me. There are plays I got to make, throws I got to make. They were missing field goals last week, all kinds of issues. Now they've had 10 days to prepare, extra time to prepare for Houston. Great tackle from the right tackle, Titus Howard, after losing to the Jets. Quote, the most frustrating part is that we're the better team. We let that game get away from us, especially in the second half. Decent chance, and this is impact, injury return. Nico Collins has a chance to come back on Sunday night. Nico Collins is at least part of the reason why Stroud in the passing attack hasn't really lit it up the last couple of weeks. With his return, Houston's a lot better, especially since Joe Mixon continues. They had 187 yards on the ground last week. When Collins is in, even without Diggs, the passing game works. And, of course, you talk about a game where you're catching more than a field goal. I expect a battle, not a blowout. I like the Texans plus the points. There's your big game breakdown. We appreciate the likes. We appreciate the follows. We appreciate the comments very, very much. There you go. Back to you, Mr. Prez.
Teddy Covers, thanks so much. Yeah, guys, a whole bunch of you in the chat room and 68 likes only. It's somewhat my fault because I didn't ask for likes at the top of the show. But guys, let me just say, I don't need to ask for likes. Like, you all know the drill. It's the same group of you in this chat room every day. Natural, Watch, B Daddy, Daryl. Come on, guys. You know how important it is. Little Bull, JJ Rickles, great name. Please take a second out of your day and hit that like button, and especially for our next guest, because we really like him. Dave Mason from BetOnline. Dave, welcome to the show. And how did you do in the election?
Boys, happy Friday. We did well. The outright was really good for us. Popular vote, we gave some back. States, choppy. Won some, lost some, but the outright was really strong. So, we gave some back on the popular, but no big deal.
And from a handle standpoint, you said the 2020 election was the single biggest betting event that you guys had ever had at the time. Was the 2024 presidential election bigger, as big, or less than you might have thought?
It blew it out of the water. At the time, 2020 was the biggest, and a couple Super Bowls, it went over that, and, we blew everything out of the water. It was insane. So I think we did about 30% more volume. Again, that's money. Than we did on this last Super Bowl, which at the time was the biggest betting event, game, market, whatever the hell you want to call it. in the history of the company. So yeah, man, it was crazy, man. It was a lot of fun, you know.
So is it a banner night? I mean, you talked about how the handle was really big. What was your hold? Did you guys clean up?
Yeah, we did well. You know, it wasn't like, you know, it wasn't. How do I put? There's so much volume on both sides. You know, I forget what our margin was. I don't want to spit a number out there, but it was good. But we've had NFL Sundays that we won more. So no, for a Tuesday night in early November, I mean, holy hell, it was great. But you know, there'll be margin wise, win loss wise, you know, there'll be better Sundays throughout the football season. But again, a lot of it's just about the volume and people coming back to the site. You know, you get a lot of I work more on the marketing side of things, so that's kind of metrics we look at too. Is okay, we got a lot of signups. We got guys who we haven't seen this guy since 2020. You know, we haven't seen him for 4 years. You know, all that kind of sort, or 2022 midterms, that kind of stuff. So that's a lot of, you know, the stuff that we look at as well.
We're talking to Dave Mason at Dave Mason BOL on X. He's from BetOnline AG, one of the largest global books in existence. Talking a little election betting and what you've seen. Now, when it came to new signup, were there a boatload of new signups coming in? The people that just came in to bet the election, or are now going to stick around and bet football and basketball, or are those kind of people, they're in, they're out?
Both, you know, both. Some people just want to bet the election, that's it. And some really come in like, well, you know, they got this and that and the other thing too. What the hell? You know, it all depends too if they won or lost. They come in, deposit once, and they bet Harris. There's a lot less likelihood they stick around compared to the guy who comes in, new guy comes in and bet Trump. And then all of a sudden, you know, he's flush and he's got cash. He's like, well, you know, what the hell? They got blackjack. Oh, maybe play some poker. Oh, NFL in a few days. What the hell? So.
Let's talk a little. You want to talk some college hoops, Lawrence? Why don't you go college hoops? Then we'll talk a little football.
What I wanted to ask Dave is, Dave, we were talking about this earlier on air with Gianni, and that is the sort of 6-week window where I feel like it's the best money making window of the year, specifically in betting college basketball. Mm-hmm. This happens year in, year out. I'd like you to talk a little bit about that. Are you getting a lot of public action on college basketball, or is this like the wise guy zone? And am I right? Is this the 6-week window where everyone should be focused on college hoops?
Yeah, it's crazy. You're exactly right. Yeah, it's the time where we get the least action. You know, it's the true public people, the true recreational bettors. They're not. They just don't pay attention much to the early. Maybe a big game, you know, big game tonight. But overall, they're kind of sitting on the bench and they're not paying attention to it. They're putting their money into football. And again, I'm making generalizations here. I want to paint everybody with a broad brush, but pretty much, you know, the action's kind of quiet. So we're taking a lot of the ratio to sharp to public money is horrible. You know, but usually, you know, the sharps are betting NFL. Okay, we're going to get so much buyback just on the volume from all the recreational guys. That ain't here in the college basketball. So early on, it's not a lot of rec bettors. Then once a conference play starts, there'll be some more. Then when football starts, it takes a nice bump. Then March, it's all hell breaks loose, right? So, yeah, I mean, the early numbers are just so soft. I mean, especially now with this NIL transfer portal. I mean, it was hard enough coming up with these numbers, you know, prior Novembers when, okay, you know, these guys on this team, okay, this team has 4 of their starters back. They were good last year. They'll add this player. But now it's like, holy hell, you know, they got 4 new players, and they're for this guy's from this college. This guy, I mean, it just makes it a difficult odds making that much harder in November. So if you're really up on your team, I mean, you know, you can definitely pick your spots. But like I said, a lot of people are just on the sidelines until things sharpen up and come January.
Dave Mason, betonline.ag. Dave, let's shift our focus to this week's football card. Let's start in college. We got 4 games tonight. We've got a huge slate tomorrow. What are you seeing? What are you hearing? Who do the pros like? Who do the Joes like? Anything stand out to you on the college football card.
Yeah, man, good action as always. I'll go over some of the bigger public plays, and again, this is stuff that has a lot of bets on it. Iowa's getting bet. 69% of the tickets are on Iowa at UCLA. 69% is on Miami, minus 10.5 at Georgia Tech. BYU, Utah is getting a lot of action. 64% is on BYU. Georgia, Ole Miss, that's the biggest game. That's getting the most bets. 70% are on Georgia, 2.5-point favorites at Ole Miss. Indiana keeps every week. Every week I'm talking Indiana. They become a public team. So 72% is on the Hoosiers, minus 14.5. And Michigan, a lot of sharp stuff. Oh, LSU, Bama, a lot of early volume, a lot of early bets, but the action is pretty 50-50, like 54% is on LSU. Sharp stuff, Cal minus 6.5 tonight, Iowa minus 6, New Mexico plus 3.5, Liberty minus 10.5, two-way sharp, Utah, BYU, Utah plus 3.5, minus 2.5 for BYU, Colorado minus 3.5, Southern Miss plus 13.5, South Carolina minus 4.5, Okie State plus 11, but then minus 10 on TCU, Vols minus 23.5. Washington plus 13.5. I could go on and on and on, but those are some of the biggest ones.
Plenty of action coming in, and that's the way it is every week when you're talking about college football. The lines can bounce around, and certainly they will react to where the money is flowing. Dave Mason telling us where the money has been flowing. We got just a few minutes left with you, Dave. Let's talk some NFL. NFL is always king here in Las Vegas. It's certainly king among bettors here in the States. And I know our audience is very interested. Same basic question. Who are the pros betting? Who are the Joes betting? Anything stand out to you that you like in NFL action for Sunday?
As far as bets, I mean, I'm looking at the board, a lot of road chalk, which is going to mean some big liabilities. Those are usually the biggest liabilities when a team is on the road. And then they're laying points, and they people just see that and they think, oh, they should be a lot more favorites, but they don't really factor in the home field advantage and everything. So, road chalk, Bills, 74% of the early bettors are on the Bills, minus 4 at Indy, 81% on Minnesota, laying 7 at Jacksonville, 75% on Atlanta, minus 3.5 at New Orleans. That's the real high early bet count. 69% on San Francisco, minus 6.5 at Tampa. Philly, 75% on Philly, minus 7 at Dallas. And then the big one, I mean, this one's getting bet all over the darn place. Detroit, minus 3.5 at Houston. 83% is on Detroit. I mean, money line parlay. I just looked at the money line action. It's like 96% of the cash is on Detroit outright. Money line parlay, even teasers. Usually people don't. It's rare that a big teaser, people teasing through the zero, but on this one, a lot of early people teasing Detroit the favorites. As far as sharps, Giants minus 5.5 or better. Minnesota minus 6. Atlanta minus 3. Denver plus 9. Chicago minus 5.5. On that big game, a little bit on Houston at plus 4. Went to plus 4, and then that got hit a bit. But yeah, action is great. But it's going to be a lot of big decisions this weekend with that road chalk.
All right, Dave. That's why we love having you on Fridays. You can break down the entire betting card in 10 or 15 minutes and talk about a whole bunch of info, man. That's amazing stuff. We appreciate your time and effort. Talk about what's going on at betonline.ag.
Yeah, get on over to betonline.ag. We got the earliest openers on all these big games I just mentioned. Got some hit up the promotions page for sign-up bonuses. And I got to give a shout out, man. 2028 election odds are open. It's never too early. J.D. Vance is a 3-1 favorite. Shapiro is plus 450. So those are the two front runners there. So, and people always say, "Oh my God, who would bet money that much early in the election?" People had Trump 75-1 early, way back when, 66-1 on Joe Biden a few years back, and then Trump again at about 33-1 in early 2021. So, if there's good value, bet it.
Yeah, Obama was 100-1 in 2006. He was elected president in 2008. So look, if you're going to get involved in that list, look down. Don't look at the chalk. Thank you so
There you
much,
go.
Dave. Have a great weekend. I hope the Bettors kick your butt.
Take care, guys. Thanks for having me.
Sure. Yeah, and that's the way it is. Lawrence, anything you want to say before we finish up?
Fun freaking show today, Teddy. I know you have a big bet going on Sunday. I want to wish you the best with that play. I have a big one tomorrow, so hopefully on Monday you and I can both be smiling.
Sure. I'll wish you the best of luck with yours as well, Lawrence. So take advantage of all the promotions right now. WT.buzz/TC, WT.buzz/LP for Lawrence's page, or just WagerTalk.com and take a look at all of the prime packages we have for the weekend. Great deals. Just click on the specials tab at the top of the page. And that's going to wrap it for the week here on Wager Talk Today. We'll do it again next week, every Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. here on the left coast, live, noon for you back east. Between now and Monday's show, be sure to tune in to Wager Talk Last Call over the weekend and stick around for Lawrence's presidential address after I'm through closing out the show, which I'm doing right now. Enjoy the games. Best of luck. Stay tuned for Lawrence's presidential address.
Okay, guys, it's time for your daily presidential address. And I'm going to take apart the Buffalo Bills Indianapolis Colts game. Before we get into that, I want to make mention that the NFL presidential address is up every game on Sunday. I take apart. It's only 22 minutes long. It's definitely worth listening to. And the penalty box segment for Friday is online right now for NHL bets. Guys, I told you all, we got a promo code, PASS3. It's 3 days, all access. I'm on a 9-2 run for my clients right now. I got so many freaking plays going over the next 3 days. I got 6 going tonight. I got at least 8 for Saturday across all sports and at least 5 for Sunday. So use the promo code PASS3, PASS3. You get 3 days for the price of one. It's $39. Try me out. Let's all win together, be happy, and have a great freaking weekend. Okay, Buffalo, -4 against Indianapolis. And well, here's the bottom line, guys. This Indy team is still in it. The quotes coming out of their locker room are good, but I just don't know. They really suck on offense, and their defense, it's just not good enough to compensate for a really anemic offense. Normally taking road chalk is a bad idea, and over the long haul, a losing proposition. But this year specifically, it has been exceptional. And I think the Bills are the right side right now. They're in this game. They're coming off a mediocre performance against their number one rivals in Miami, and they still got it done. And although this game has letdown written all over it, I just don't think Indianapolis has the ability to keep pace with this Bills team. This Bills team is led by veterans up and down the lineup, and they want the Super Bowl. They are playing for the Super Bowl, and they know they cannot lose these games. They want Kansas City at home. They want Baltimore at home. They aren't losing games like this. If Joe Flacco was so good, why is he on his 70th football team in the last 5 years? Now, I get it. He went 33 of 44 for 359 yards and 3 touchdowns against Jacksonville 3 starts ago. What did he do his other 3 starts this year? Well, they were pretty damn terrible. He put up 179 yards against Minnesota. He did nothing against Tennessee. He did 168 yards against Pittsburgh. He has 4 touchdowns in 4 starts. He's gone over 189 yards once. His QPR rating is 61.9. He is garbage. Regardless of who plays QB, whether it's him, whether it's Richardson, this Colts team have averaged 21 points per game, and that is totally skewed. They have scored 13, 20, 16, and 20 in their last 4 games. This line is pretty short, guys. The Bills, when they beat teams, they blow them away. They have won by 21 or more points 2 of their last 3 games, and 4 times in their 9 games this season. This is a team that knows how to beat people up. There's just no freaking way I can take Indianapolis in this game. Buffalo is the play. That's where we're going. Thank you for watching the Daily Presidential Address. Make sure to use that promo code PASS3. We'll see you guys all on Monday.